What up, family? What up, what up, what up? Welcome to my writer's life. This is Alicia Anabel Santos. Um, and this diary is titled Write What You Know. When I first heard that quote, I'm not quite sure which author coined it, but what I loved about it was that what I knew was what it was like to be a Dominican woman, a mom, a lesbian, a mother, a daughter, a sister, a black girl in these United States. So I had stories accessible to me. What do I know? I know what it's like to be a girl born in Brooklyn, who lived in Queens, who moved to Rhode Island. I know what it's like to be an inner city girl and then move to the suburbs and be the only black girl in an all-white school. I know what it's like to have my heart crushed and disappointed by my first loves. I know what it's like to be someone who carries generational trauma and abuse and a past. So when I hear a quote like, write what you know, there are many things that I know, and there are many stories that I believe are mine to tell. And so I wanted to jump on here because I'm thinking about what that means, write what you know, because there are a lot of debates about, people who feel like if you're a strong enough writer, you should be able to write about any and every experience. And if you're a good enough writer, you don't necessarily have to be from a particular tradition, history, culture, and you can go ahead and take someone else's story and rise to some level of success with that. And that's kind of infuriating, right? When we have someone else who's telling our stories and they don't look like us. And by they, I am talking about white writers. Write what you know. To me, it carries a lot of power because there is a tradition and a history that comes with being who we are as people of color that is distinct, that is incredibly significant and is ours to tell. So when I hear something like, write what you know, I'm very territorial about that, about our stories. So as you begin this year and you're struggling about whether or not you have the right to tell a particular story, I think it's important to reflect on why it is you're questioning whether or not you should write a certain story. Because I do find it interesting that people tend to take stories that aren't necessarily theirs to tell because they're exploiting us or further exploiting us as people of color. And that doesn't feel good. So what are our stories to tell? What do you know? When I say write what you know, what do you know? I know that I am a descendant of African kings and queens. I also know that I am a descendant of the very colonizers who brought those enslaved Africans to Quisqueya. I know that I am descendant to indigenous folks. there are a lot of stories that I can access, and that I'm very proud that it is part of what I know. And also, I write about what I care about. I write about what I love. I write about what I'm passionate about. I write about the things that infuriate me. I write about the things that I'm against and that I'm for and that I'm protective of. And a lot of that has to do with my people, being a woman of color, being a writer of color. So what I know is that experience. That's my experience. And honestly, I'm not interested in like writing a story that's outside of who I am. Like, people say, if you're a good enough writer, that's just not the story I'm interested in writing. I'm not interested in writing stories about white people. I'm just not. I'm not. I'm interested in bringing to the page characters that look like me, characters that look like my mother, my grandparents, my great grandparents, my ancestors. Write what you know, and who are you writing for? Like for me, I know that I'm writing for a community of people. I am. I believe that my writing is not just for me, it's for this just like larger. God, I'm so excited to see like little girls, little black girls, little brown girls pick up my writing and see themselves in the pages. Write what you know. Some writing prompts ready. You can pause this writing prompt at any moment. You can pause this meditation to reflect, to journal, right? The stories that are mine to write are the stories that are mine to write are what I know, what I know. When I think about my writing, my responsibility is to, when I think about my writing, my responsibility is to the story I was born to write is the story I was born to write is you're ready. You can do this. Write what you know. My intention. My intention is to tell the truth in everything that I write. I will tell the truth. I wish that for me. I wish that for you. I'm out. Peace.